Hello, everybody, wherever you are in the world. It's a beautiful morning today, and I am back again to start with my series on transmuting emotions. This is the first episode of it, and I've been having quite intense transformations for the past few days, and it's been pretty amazing, though sometimes it was hard. Sometimes I remember the other day, when I was transmuting my fear. I felt like I was gonna have a stroke. It was total like I had some sort of arthritis, like my muscles and everything was locking, and it was more like I was, those things that we see on televisions, when pastors pray for people and then they start to scream and all of those things. Then that was when my fear was transmuted, and after that it became pretty amazing, and I recognized that so many things are real. We just don't realize them yet. Realizing something, it means you make it real in your own life, in your own experience. So there's one emotion that is torturing humanity, is the biggest emotion of all. So I'm going to start with it in this first episode. I'm going to start with the emotion, which is fear. When people speak about fear, they always say that, they speak about fear as like, something that is much normal, something that is not much important, something that does not bother that much. But the truth is, our very personality, what we call ourselves, is based on fear. First and first, you must understand that fear, it's an emotion that we get when we've reached the boundary of our personality, when we've reached the boundary of our persona or ego. So our ego hide behind fear, and fear can manifest in two manifestation. It can manifest in a fight mode, which is anger, because anger is fear expressed, or it can manifest in a flight mode, which is what I'm going to speak about today. Fear, which is flight mode. Whenever fear manifests as flight mode, it's only telling us one message: to run away. So whenever we are so much nearer to seeing beyond what we already know, to seeing beyond our experiences, to see life that is much more than what we knew for our whole life, then fear comes in. Fear comes in to try to keep us into that boundary that we are trapped in. It's like fear is like a circle that has been created, that whenever you are nearing the circle, fear is going to come in to barge in, and fear is going to try to stop you. It's going to try to stop us from experiencing the better version of ourselves, experiencing what is out there. So we become trapped in what is in here, living one life. That is called samsara. They call it samsara, which is a karmic life. So fear traps us in our karma. It's like we live in the same life over and over and over and over again, non-stop. So let me tell you what has helped me in my experience to transmuting that. I realized that there's no any other way to move beyond anything. Like if you can go back to your experiences and realize and see and just to analyze what was happening, what happened when you did something that you've never done before. What happened is that fear came in first. Fear barged in first. But when fear came in, you didn't give in to the fear, because you realized that there is much important something beyond fear. So you just continue to move on. Even fear was trying to put you down, you just continue to move forward. So that is ultimately how we transmute fear in our lives. So first and first, we so much cling on to believe, because we think that belief is much better. The truth is, our ego, which is our personality that is trapped, that likes or dislikes things, is the one that creates belief. Because belief, it's a way of an ego to just put a label on something that it doesn't want to experience. And what ego doesn't want to experience, it's something that will make it disappear. So whenever we headed to we have to experience a new experience, belief pops in, and we name things evil, we name things very bad, and we end up naming people very bad, especially people who displays what we don't want to be displayed, especially people who displays our own basis of ego. For my experience, my main basis of ego was that, I felt very unworthy, and I felt like I wasn't enough. So with that being said, I started to develop an ego of this poorness. I always felt poor everywhere I go, every time when I get out to the world. So whenever I met somebody who resembled poorness, who resembled poverty, or who resembled begging and all of that, I got angry, and I started to name them as people who want to lure people in, who want to use people, who actually doesn't want to work for anything that they want to have. They just want to have anything for free. So what was basically happening is that I was trying to justify my own anger. Remember, I said anger is fear expressed. I'm gonna come to speaking about anger and in another episode. Right now I want to focus on the flight mode. So whenever we see other people, we label them so that we may get away from them, just so that we may never face our fear, we may never transmute our fear. So it's the way our ego will always trap us. That's why fear is the basis of the existence of the devil, because the devil actually is ego, and fear is the number one tool that the devil uses, because the devil will always trap us in what we know. When we see people doing so much greater things that we can't do, we'll always say that they are possessed, something is wrong with them. Because here's the thing, hurt people want to hurt people, and angry people want to make others angry. Fearful people want to make everybody fearful. So when we feel fear, when our fear is intense, all we can see is threats everywhere. All we can see is people who are against us, is people who wanna kill us, because fear only knows two language. It knows people who are for us and people who are against us. It never sees people for what they are. So when somebody speak of something that is against who you are, you end up you automatically make them your enemy. So fear needs enemies to survive. Fear needs people who are against it to survive. Fear needs people who are for it to survive, so that it may keep on going on and on and on and on and on. So when you look at it, so many people who are living a luxurious life right now, who are living life, though they may be trapped in their own problems, but who are living life are people who took risks. Taking risks is actually opening up yourself out there to that fear and feeling it for what it is, and just say that I don't care what happens because I can't control the circumstances. I just want to see beyond this. So the first step that you may do, I made another video that I posted last time. I said that when fear pops in, just go out there in nature. Nature is another things that we fear so much, because fear also doesn't want to meet anything that will transmute it, that will just diminish it, that will make it disappear. That's why fearful people hate happy people, because happy people will always transmute the fear. Fear people hate people who are getting out there, who are putting themselves out there, who are putting themselves at risk, because fear always wants to remain as fear. It doesn't want to disappear. So just go out there and walk in nature. You realize that as you breathe in the air, you start to feel peaceful. That's one way to just calm your fear. It's not a way to transmute your fear, because transmuting our fear is only to face it, but it's a way to calm our fear. So don't be fearful to try out and to face your fears, because just know that nature will always be out there to look out for you. So just face all your fears. Your fear may be a fear of losing. I always had that fear also, and in my experience I had to face losing first, and then in losing, after I faced losing, after I faced losing head on, I realized that there's no losing actually. It's like, okay, let me make an example. I love to make an example of this. Let me say I want to run a 1 mile run, right? Okay, let me say 1 kilometer run, and I get there on the pitch having my you know my best clothes on, and I try to run the 1 kilometer run. And remember, I've never ran a kilometer before. And then I run, and then on half a kilometer, I start to get so much tired, I give up. um, from another point of view, it may seem like I have lost, but from your point of view, just realize that you have never really lost, because you've never run a kilometer before. So running 0.5 kilometer, it's a great thing for you. um, there's this lady who speak about being vulnerable, who speak about being open, who speak about being open to taking risks. She once said something that is much beautiful. She said that, winning means different things to us, because sometimes winning for me may not mean like winning like the people sees, winning like the society expect, but it may mean like walking just one step. In walking one step, now I know that by walking one step, which means I can walk another, and another. Our problem is that is what actually fears does. When we living under fear, fear will always want results before process. Fear hates a process because it knows that throughout the process it may be lost. Throughout the process it may lose its power and it may disappear. So it just wants to jump into the results, and it knows that it's not possible to jump into results. So it knows that when results don't come our way, we get angry, and then we start to be fearful more. So if you want to transmute your fear, just get out there in the ring and stay in the arena. Face all these challenges. There are so many beautiful people out there. We name them as evil, but they are beautiful people. People like Beyonce, people like Rihanna, those people who have put themselves out there. People like Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga is the most hated because of how she expresses herself. But reality is that we were created to express ourselves. We were created to just become, not become one thing, but become everything, anything at any time. Women are the best examples of that, everything that we can become. That's why women have in them the feminine spirit. The feminine spirit is the spirit of things that we have not manifested in our life, that we have not made real in our life. And we need courage in order for us for our feminine to manifest. Women knows this. They have courage to go out there, try out new clothes. They have courage to go out there, try out new fashion. They have courage to go out there, try out new styles. And by doing that, that's how we overcome fear. So if you want to transmute fear in your life, I can only tell you that in my experience, I realized that fear will always keep us stuck. But once we face fear head on, we may not get out the same way that we got in. We may acquire some injuries, but the truth is, deep inside of us, we'll start to feel that peace. And once we feel that peace, that's when we can explore the possibilities of so much more on this life. Because right now, I used to live in fear, and when I was living in fear, all I could see was threats everywhere. All I can see was things that were wrong. All I can see was things that were not working, and I was attracted to things that actually triggered that fear. I was attracted to things like soapies because they never get you anywhere. I was attracted to news out there, and I was always feeling fearful. I thought that everything is danger. Everybody is out to get me. But once I transmuted my fear, I realized that there's so much possibilities in this life. We can be what we want to be as long as we are ready to face our fears. So, beautiful people, wherever you are in the world, I hope that my experience about fear will help you out, and I hope to catch you on the next episode. And I really hope that this episode helps you enough. And after you watch this video, don't just sit on this video, just share it to people out there who needs this advice, so that they can become better people, better versions of ourselves. Because my goal, my greatest vision is so that people may wake up from their fear and realize that there is more to life. I want people to become the best versions of themselves. I want people to realize that we can do anything that we put our focus into it, that we put our attention into it, that we open up ourselves to it more openly, then we can do greater things, because human beings were meant to evolve.